Hey guys, hope you're all keeping well. So today we're finally back with another video, and it's going to be a BMW M140 video. As the title suggests, what I'm going to be doing is covering what the annual running costs have been of this car over the last 12 months. My first year owning the actual car, still a complete delight owning it. Absolutely adore the car and love it. One thing what was a concern when I first was looking to buy one of these cars was how much it actually was going to cost, because I have heard that they can be quite expensive. So what I've done is gone through all the costs of what everything's cost me over the last 12 months. In this video, we'll have a little talk about each step of what things have cost me, any problems I've come across with the car and what that's cost me. We'll pop up the costs on the screen and also get an annual total, and we'll talk about things, how it's starting to look for the costs of this upcoming year. So what we'll do is dive straight into it and get on with the annual running costs of the BMW. So a quick disclaimer before we go into the costs, just so people know. The mileage I've done in this car is only 4,000 miles. It is my second car, so I only particularly use it at the weekends, maybe of evenings, or if I do long journeys. So these costs are just covering, for us being a second car, and only covering 4,000 miles throughout the year. That being said, the costs have still been quite high, but reasonable for what kind of car it is, in my opinion. So firstly, what we'll discuss is the insurance, which is a biggie. I know a lot of people have talked about this particularly over the last 12 months in terms of insurance premiums going sky high, which has forced a lot of people to sell these cars, which has flooded the market and made the value of these cars go down. I believe it's starting to stabilise a little bit. When I was looking at insurance premiums for this second year, it's not actually too bad, and they have dropped slightly. It has for me anyway in my circumstances. So for my initial year, what I did, myself at the time when I bought this car, I was 34 years old. I had no claims or convictions against my name, so there was nothing like that going against it. The car was down to use social, domestic and commuting. Annual mileage I put down as 6,000 miles. I managed to get the insurance cost. So insurance was £1,218.11. That is with £1,000 excess. Now I know that is quite high for an excess, but it needed to be done. So all in all though, the insurance has looked better for the second year, but we'll go into that at the end of the video. So the next important thing I had to do straight away obviously was tax the car. So the tax on this car for over a 12-month period cost £180. Now I don't think that's too bad. It's quite reasonable for the car being 3 litre for what it is. The tax has slightly gone up, but once again we'll go into that at the end of the video. So the next thing that I decided I need to do, there's been a lot of car theft in my area, particularly from my neighbours as well. Next door neighbour, 2 across the road as well, cars have been stolen. So what I wanted to do initially was get a ghost immobiliser fitted on the car. Now if you don't have a ghost immobiliser, I highly do recommend them. It's a massive peace of mind. The ghost at the time cost me £568 for a ghost immobiliser. Worth every penny. Like I said, peace of mind's there, so I would highly recommend, if you don't have one, to definitely get one. Gosh, red hot today. So I'm sat in car having it running while doing this video, and aircon's, but it's actually quite quiet, the car, to be fair. Mind you, cold start's gone off, so, but I'm sat in here with the aircon at the moment because it is boiling outside. Okay, so after I did those 2 things, the first little problem I come up with, which is no fault of anybody's, and definitely no fault of my own, is I had a slow puncture in the near side front tyre. So I took the tyre to hopefully be repaired, but on closer inspection there was actually 2 nails in the tyre, and it wasn't in a position which was able to be repaired. Now the tyres I had on the car when I bought the car was Bridgestone Pretenders, so I decided, just because I wanted them all to match up, ideally I didn't want them on the car, but they're not bad tyres, so I decided to replace it. So the cost of the tyre was £124.70, including fitting. To be honest with you, not a bad price. Looking like this second year I may need to get some new tyres, which I'll go into the full cost while they're potentially looking at the moment what tyres I'm looking at to get, once again, towards the end of the video. So while owning the vehicle, one of the first problems I did come across after a couple of months of owning it, which comes across as being a common fault, is the coolant was starting to drop. So I noticed one day pulling out of the garage, the coolant was below minimum, topped up was still doing it. Now, after doing some research and looking into it, there is a known problem with the coolant caps. I'm not going to go into too much detail of that at the moment. I have done a video on what the problem I had with the car. If you do want to check that out, there'll be a card at the top of the screen, which you can go back and look at that video, and it just explains the issue I had and how I resolved that problem with the coolant losing on the car. What I had to do though was actually I bought some coolant and a coolant cap from BMW. So the coolant reservoir cap cost £25.33. The coolant cost £13.64 to resolve that issue. It was the proper coolant I needed for the car. There's still water I already had in, so I didn't have to pay out for that. But like I say, if you want to see that video on what problem I had, how I've resolved it, check out the card at the top of the screen. So the next problem I came, unfortunately, on the car was the exhaust rattle, which once again, I have known it be not particularly overly common, but there's quite a lot of videos out there in terms of this problem. So what actually happened is one of the actuator clips had broken, and there was a problem with the exhaust valve actuator. Once again, I'm not going to go into the full details of that, but there will be a card once again at the top screen. If you want to go back and look at that video for the problem I had and how I resolved that, you can go back and watch that. So for the exhaust fault repairs for the exhaust actuator, it cost me £97.21 from sitting at BMW. And for the actuator clip, it cost me £6 actually off eBay. So the next thing we had done on the car, which is every motorist's dreaded time of year, is MOT time. MOT standard price £40, which you pay for the car. Fortunately, the car passed the test with no advisories whatsoever, no problems, so that flew straight through. So MOT £40. Car's been more than that. Glad, to be fair, I don't know if like I said 4,000 in the car this year, so I didn't expect any problems because there was no advisories on the last MOT, and it's been spawned apart from the problems I briefly mentioned, which you can go back and see on the video. But in terms of MOT failures, there shouldn't have been any problems anyway. Now, next thing, service. I actually took the car to Performance M at Manchester. A lot of you guys have probably already heard of those. If you relatively close, or to be fair, I travelled, it was about an hour's drive for me to get there. I would highly recommend those guys. They really know what they're doing. They're spot on, answer any of your questions you need to know, and they are really good value for money. So what I did is I took the car over there for a engine oil service, vehicle health check, and brake fluid service as well. So with that, they used all the OEM parts for the oil service, did full vehicle health check, was quite impressed with what they did with that. Top up the coolant on the car, because that needs a little bit of a top up, because once I had the coolant fault, I never actually fully topped that up. I left it at a level where I knew where it was, so I could keep an eye on if it was dropping. They topped all that up. They put MMR race brake fluid in it, which, to be honest with you, strangely does actually feel a little bit better. So they put all that in. So the service cost was £298 for the engine oil service, vehicle health check, and brake fluid service. Can't more on that. But I was looking at BMW for the same thing. I think it was going to cost me around about £450. So I've saved just over £150 by taking it to Performance M. So once again, I recommend them guys. If you are able to travel up there and wanted to, I recommend doing so. So in terms of fuel's a biggie on one of these cars. Now, for the first, when I owned the car, I was running it on BP Ultimate on their premium fuel because it was the closest garage. And then I realised not too far there was a Shell garage, so it's been running on Shell V-Power for the last 8 months. A little bit more expensive than BP Ultimate, but hands down it's a great fuel. So what I've done with this is I've not actually got an exact figure of it, but I've gone down averages for what I've looked that I've actually spent. So the average has been around about £70 a month. As I say, it's the second car. I've done 4,000 miles, so about £70 a month is what I've put in this car. To some months it's been higher. I think last month I put in around about £170 because I did a lot of runs. But then the month before I probably put in 40, and the month before 40. So it has averaged out around about £70 a month. So the total cost, total fuel cost has been £840, which I don't think is too bad. Like I say, it's for Shell V-Power, so it's good fuel as well. But what I'm looking to do this next year is look to see if I can get an exact cost. I'm going to keep an eye on it because I'm going to do another one of these videos at the end of the year, so we can actually see how much it has cost over the last 12 months exactly. So that comes to an annual running cost of £3,410.99, which, to be honest with you, I don't think is too bad for a 3-litre rear-wheel drive BMW M140i. That's including all the fuel and everything which I've discussed previously. This next year it's looking to be potentially cheaper, fortunately, because I haven't got the outlaying costs of like the Ghost Mobiliser, etc., and the insurance has gone down. However, moving forward though, the tax has gone up £10, so that's a pain, but it's £190 for the year. With the insurance, fortunately though, that's actually gone down. I was actually looking at, before my renewal come through, I was looking, as you do, I've been looking for about 2-3 months beforehand. The insurance quotes was looking around about £1,200. When I actually got my renewal through, it come in at £930. So I was quite happy for that. That's obviously dropped like over £200 for the previous year. What I decided to do then though is make some changes. I dropped it from 6,000 miles to 4,000 miles annual usage, and I don't actually take the car to work anymore. So I dropped off commuting, and I managed to get my insurance costs for the next upcoming year for £870.24. What I've done as well is when I was at Performance M, I did get a quote for a major service because I'm going to take the car back again the second year I own it for a major service doing it, and the quote at the time £419. Now that might change obviously depending on costs and things going up, but right now quoted that, and MOT £40. I may need to get some new tyres, but I've not put that into the total what it's going to potentially cost me this year so far, not including fuel. At the minute it's going to be with the service quote and obviously MOT £1,519. So even if I need tyres, as long as nothing else goes wrong with the car, it should be around about £200 cheaper this year than last year, so that's not too bad. Now I did look at getting some tyres. If I look at PS5s all the way round from Black Circles including fitting at the local garage, it's £530, which I don't think is bad whatsoever really. Yeah, it's expensive, could be cheaper, but it's still not a bad price. Well, I hope this video's been insightful. I hope it's given you some information on how much potentially could cost you to run one of your M140s if you're looking to buy one. Like I say, it is just a second car, so it's not like a daily, which if it was a daily, cost would be quite a lot more. I might potentially would have already needed new tyres. Obviously fuel bill would be going through the roof. I know some people spend about £70 a week on these on fuel, so it could be a lot more expensive. If you've got one of these, let me know what your costs are like below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, do give it a like, subscribe for more content. It's completely free, it really does help me out, and I'll see you all on the next video.